Just thankfully this game's over. I can't wait to hear from you guys. We got a mess. It's preseason, so it is what it is, I guess. But how do you evaluate Marcus Mariota when he can't throw the ball? How do you evaluate anybody on the offense? Arthur Smith, how do you evaluate him? The defense, real quick, I know from the perspective they got dominated on Big Ben's drive in the second possession of the game after the safety or whatever. Realistically, everybody was out. I don't know if you guys caught that or not. So Evans, I think, was like pretty much the only starter. Wesley Woodyard was in there too. But other than that, I mean, everybody was out. So thanks for joining me. I don't know how long this is going to be. Can you guys hear me okay? I just want to double check. Got a lot of things going on. So I'll get to your comments here shortly. So let's start off right here. I just want to know what you guys feel, because this is oh boy, this is fun. Okay. So we'll start off here. We'll start off. I'm not going to go negative here right away, because typically I'd be all fired up throwing things. And, I've already did my fair share of yelling for tonight. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to count to 10. Whew, ready to go. Okay. So who is basically worse? The Titans or Skycam? I don't know. Skycam actually shut down during the broadcast. I don't know if you caught that or not. I was like, wow, what else could go wrong at Nissan? It was pro Steelers all the way. The crowd, I don't know if any of you were there. The crowd sounded pro Steelers. Didn't seem like there were a whole lot of people that stuck around towards the very end. It was raining. It was miserable. Wasn't sure if there was going to be lightning in the area. Then it would have been delayed 30 minutes. So that would have been crazy. Been through that with the scrimmage. I know the Dolphins-Titans game last year was crazy too, with all the, the dead time and all that stuff. But my goodness, what else could have went wrong for the Tennessee Titans tonight? I know it's preseason. But let's start where the problem is, right? O-line. You're J-Rob. How do you fix it? How do you fix it? I'm going to put this one on here. And James says Skycam was stupid. It's hard to read, coaching perspective. I used to coach high school football, I guess, for a few years. It's kind of a neat dynamic, but I'm a fan right now. I'm not coaching the Titans. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'd want to coach that offensive mess right now. But right now it's just it's hard to see. It's hard to make out sometimes. It's just one of those things. But yeah, I'm with you, James. I don't really, not a huge fan of it. I don't even think I'm a huge fan of it in Madden. So let's go here. All right. So Cody brings up a good point. Mariota did nothing wrong. 3 receivers messed up. Didn't catch the pass. Humphreys, what the heck was he doing, by the way? Davis, I don't know. Davis, I don't think did anything. The ball was probably where it should have been. The guy was right with Davis the whole way. Mariota put it on the outside where Davis could have made a play on it, but it was just a little bit overthrown. But if he underthrows that, that gets picked off. So I don't really blame anybody in there, but I understand your point. I don't know what we can do going forward with the offensive line. We can't even get a good estimation on, Marcus. That's the key point in the preseason. I thought we would get Marcus feeling good. Guys, Marcus was 0 for 3 today. And NBC, if you guys caught the broadcast, they made him look like he was the worst quarterback in the league. They showed him numerous times on the sideline. And usually that's a cue where, Michaels, Collinsworth will talk about Marcus Mariota when they usually put the camera on him and they wait a few seconds to see if they're going to pick up a conversation. And many times they moved on. Collinsworth still calling Mariota. I caught that numerous times. And then Michaels at the end of if you go back to the Colts game, if you can bear it, week 17, he was saying what? Mariota. And then now it was just kind of like Mariota. For me, it was pretty obvious. I wrote this down. 4 minutes into the game really quick with Marcus before we go back to the sad O-line. 4 minutes with left in the first half. they were making Michael said it's basically not a quarterback competition, but then Collinsworth was chiming in and then Michaels was chiming in. They were not holding back. They think there should be a competition. I don't know. It's just frustrating to hear the negativity. And then I'm not going to get on the local media too much, but it's like they are sarcastic. If you guys follow their tweets, they are sarcastic as all get out. I mean, just let it go. The national media doesn't have a clue what they're talking about. I understand maybe the gap between Mariota and Tannehill's not that big, but this season in the first 4 games, I would think at least, we have to decide if Marcus Mariota is the guy. I mean, he was drafted number 2 overall. He's playing out his contract. He's in the 5th year. You can't just let him go and get rid of him in preseason. Tannehill, he is what he is. I like Tannehill. I love having him as a backup. And I know if Marcus don't work out, Tannehill is going to have a good chance to come in and see if maybe he's the guy and do whatever. But if you have this O-line, let's go segue right back to the O-line. If this O-line's in play, what are you going to do? Like, what can you do for the O-line? So I'm going back to the board, see what you guys come up with, because J-Rob can't figure it out. I have a pro tip, my big tip at the end of the show. If you stay with us, you're not gonna want to miss it. Hopefully J-Rob's listening to that. I got a good tip for you. So let's kind of go through here. All right. For all ages, we got a little political stuff going on. Collinsworth is a weasel. He might be okay. Let's see. I'm trying to think. Back to James. Throwing James up there a lot. Don't even listen to national media anymore. It's hard, James. Troy Aikman, if you're looking for something fun to go do before you go to sleep tonight, Troy Aikman just basically dropped a bombshell on Doug Gottlieb. Because Doug was saying some pretty stupid stuff on Andrew Luck. And Troy just put him in his place. It's actually they kind of work for the same company too with Fox. All right. So yeah, you get no suggestions how to fix the O-line. I mean, you guys aren't going to be able to help J-Rob out, I guess. So he's on his own. But let's just start with the O-line really, really quick again. I thought Conklin probably played the best. If you don't think he did, I mean, I didn't notice him. I think he did pretty well to hold up the right side. Kelly got nominated a few times. I know some of you have put that in the chat here. Who else was pretty bad? Pamphile or what? Pompfield. He hands of the face. The middle got blown up many times. Another problem was towards the end of the first half, the Steelers, they came to play. And I think this is obvious. Mariota, Tannehill, offense, defense, whatever. We have not played full starters in Philly. And we did not play full starters in New England. I think we got beat up pretty good at practices against New England when we went Wednesday, Thursday. So this was a real good test. The Steelers pretty much played their starters the whole first half. And they dominated us. I mean, both sides of the ball. They had 7 sacks. Big Ben looked pretty good. They had a lot of gashing early on running the ball. So, I mean, when you're talking about that kind of stuff, I don't know. But, yeah, definitely the O-line is a problem, and I just don't know how we're going to fix this. It's frustrating me. You're going to have to pick somebody up, but you can't do that till what? This weekend coming up, next weekend, after the Bears game. I think they start cuts Friday into Saturday. Maybe it even goes into Sunday. I'm not really sure. But that's you got to do something because none of those guys are getting annihilated. I mean, it was awful. It was hard to even watch. I'm surprised you guys even finished it. Just insanely crazy. Our O-line looks old. They look like they're in cement. I mean, these guys are around them all the time. So I guess what I can point out too is when things are this bad, all right, they're obviously bad. They probably have got kind of thrown under the rug for a little bit during the preseason, but they showed tonight. So you got to fix it. I mean, preseason is preseason. But if you show this effort against Cleveland in week 1 with their D-line, we are going to get annihilated. And Taylor Lewan, I mean, that's a big deal to have him out 4 games. He's obviously our best lineman. He did okay tonight, I thought. He made a great block on Bush, went to the next level. We don't have him the first 4 games. So that it's just frustrating. You know the Titans are very upset right now if you really think about it going forward. But yeah, Let's see. You guys getting involved in the Marcus Mariota. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't really want to bring it up. It's all over the place. The worst part about it is Mariota can't go out and show what he can do right now because the line won't let him. And I know that many of you will get on him and say, wait, Ryan Tannehill, 6 of 9 for 62 yards. But, I mean, he got popped many times. Mariota didn't get helped out by any receiver. Humphreys, that's the second big drop. He dropped a huge one against New England in the preseason, and he dropped one. You can blame it on the weather conditions. You guys don't realize this guy had one drop. Someone on Twitter said, well, now he plays for the Titans. So I guess. And then real quick with receivers, I thought Raymond played pretty well, and I got a question for you guys. Raymond, do you keep him over Taylor? Or do you keep them both? I mean, Jennings had a nice return. We assume he's going to make the team, even though he pretty much can't do anything on the wide receiver front. Maybe he can do a little more. Maybe I'm hard on him, but then we have an open. I thought A.J. Brown, at least he got open. Looks like he can play wide receiver. I think that's a big part. You can actually look like you can play wide receiver. But, man, like the Humphreys drop, Davis, you know, he was in there quite a bit, but we couldn't really throw him the ball besides the 125-yard pass, which was an awesome play by Arthur Smith. So that got me a little bit excited for the positives, I guess, if there is any. But, you know, Taywan Taylor, he's playing with the third team in the second half again, you guys. Like, something's going on there. Now, he is listed as the starter on the depth chart, came into the game again. But it wouldn't be surprising to me. Why not try to call Houston up? You know, I know Houston don't have any offensive linemen, but we had no pass rush again. Correa, like, we traded a 6 for him. I thought he did okay last year. He has been awful this preseason. He's nowhere to be found. Like, every time I look at him, he's getting just driven back, and he's out there an awful lot. When's the last time he's made a play in the preseason? I bet you if you go and look up how many guys have played what percentage of the snaps, he's probably up there pretty high, and he's done absolutely nothing. That's got to be noted, right? I know a lot of you guys are Finch fans, but Finch had a nice recovery, but I didn't notice him either tonight. Like, he got sucked in, and then the guy went around, and I think it was Connor maybe, or maybe this wasn't. I think it was Connor, and he made a nice recovery, so Connor only got like a couple yards. But, you know, there's no pass rush. There's no offense of line. Harold Landry and Derrick Henry didn't play. So for you, Titan fans, is that enough to give you confidence going into week 1 against the Browns? Keep in mind, Henry hasn't taken one snap. Usually preseason for running backs is kind of important. If you look at Bell, I know we don't really want to look at Bell, but since we're talking about Steelers, old Steelers, when he missed the entire preseason, it took him a couple weeks. Well, no offense, we don't really have a couple of weeks with Lawan being out. All right, I want to go back to your comments. Let's see. A.J. Brown basically did not do nothing too. Well, he did at least catch a couple of balls, more than anybody else, I guess, did. Raymond actually played the best, I thought. But I hear you. I mean, the fumble, at least he looks like he can play wide receiver. I think that's pretty important, right? He runs really good routes. So being a former wide receiver in high school, which means nothing, at least he's running routes that are correct. Some of these guys don't even run routes, which is terrible. All right. What else we got? John Smith. Wow, we're covering John Smith in history right now. Our defense is still elite, I hope. Now, Dory Jackson, if you notice, he was 7. How many times are the guys like 7, 8 yards off the ball? Ben caught it. Quick slant. Everybody kind of figured that out. But Dory had pretty good reaction speed to cut that down for like 3 or 4 yards. I noted that. Moncrief was the receiver. And then on the other end, it was like 3rd and 4. Then they made the play on Adoree Jackson. So it's obvious he can't return punts. I don't know why they keep throwing him back there. But yeah. Here we go. Ben and Rihanna, that was embarrassing. I'm not sure what was embarrassing. Just kind of clicking on things. I apologize. Maybe the Titans' performance or Skycam, probably one of the two. But yeah. So I don't know how we're going to fix this offensive line. It's going to come up over and over and over and over again. Do you trade? Are we at that point? Last night when I came in and talked about Luck, I was really excited. And I know some of you guys were too. Not that Luck was out, but, you know, like we can't beat Luck. So we knew we had an opportunity. but I feel like garbage right now. I'm not going to lie. Like, the two biggest parts in football are pass rush and O-line. Probably more O-line. You cannot do anything if you don't have an offensive line. So I know Kelly can be better. It was rainy out. It didn't look like the Titans even wanted to be out there personally. I don't know. Vrabel didn't have them really ready to go, but who knows? Do you guys have any positive thoughts on the night to let you guys kind of run the conversation? Because I only really have the one more thing with Raymond and Taylor. We kind of broke that down. My point with this really quick is, okay, as a fan, but I'm looking at it from what you can do. Raymond looks like he can actually, he's fast. And I know Taylor's fast, but Raymond can catch. So can Taylor every so often. Taylor's a third-round pick. If it wasn't for him being drafted out of Western Kentucky in the third round, like let's say he was undrafted, just like Raymond, okay? Who would you keep? Honestly, who would you keep? Would you keep Raymond? Raymond's at least produced. You can't say that, oh, well, you know, Taywan Taylor's playing his first team. No, he's not. He's playing with the third team because those two are alongside each other. I don't know why. I know you can't do this because you have no line, but why not just take a shot deep every once in a while? They did it with Davis, with Mariota in the beginning of the game, and it's like they never did it again. You know, it's just like, just let it loose. Like, was it Rudolph had an awesome touchdown pass for the Steelers in the first half. Why can't we ever do that? It's just like, no matter who we draft or where they're from or what they just can't. Wide receiver has been a curse for this team for a long time, since Derek Mason, for the most part. All right. One more thing. I wanted to briefly touch on this because I think it's somewhat of important. And I still have a tip for the day. So when Vrabel comes off at halftime, they must have went up and asked him something about Mariota. Did you bench him? And Vrabel says, Mariota didn't struggle. And then Vrabel says, we could just not block for him. So he's pretty adamant. In the post-game conference, just a tad bit late today. Sorry about that. I was just listening to Vrabel. He did mention that Marcus will be ready to go week 1. So there's going to be no, but we already knew that. The national media didn't. So maybe one of those guys are listening. But I had one more thing I wanted to kind of run by you guys, if I can find it. Durden got beat deep, whatever. Let's see. Here we go. So this was interesting. As I was listening to the cast here on NBC, did you guys notice it was all Steelers? I kind of figured that's what it was because the Steelers are going to be opening night against, or the opening Sunday night game against the Patriots. So yeah, obviously they're going to talk about Steelers, but they were interviewing Big Ben. They interviewed many Steeler players throughout. How many Titan players did they interview? Do you guys know? Anybody? How many Titan players did they actually interview? Just waiting to see if you guys. They did mention Dyson being a principal. Yeah. I don't remember them interviewing really anybody, but whatever. So really quick. So they're talking in the broadcast, Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth, and they showed the stats of Tannehill in preseason, and they looked really good, but again, second and third teamers. Mariota was playing against first and second teamers. Does that really matter or not? But Collinsworth made this comment, and this is where, when you guys listen to this stuff, the average person who's not this invested, you guys would not be here if you were not invested in Titans. Trust me. You would not be on Titanup Load right before going to bed or wherever you guys are from. Listen to some dude just rant. But I will tell you this. With Collinsworth, he said Mariota should have asked to come back in for the third series. Now, do you really think Mariota is going to ask to come into the third series? Even if he asks, do you think Vrabel's just going to magically throw him in because he asked in a meaningless preseason game? Like, Collinsworth, why did you even have to bring that up? You made Marcus look like he wanted out of the situation. So that kind of ticked me off. And, the local media does it the opposite way. Everything's pro Marcus. Everything Tannehill's bad. It's almost like they want you to hate Tannehill to prove their point that Marcus is the guy. And it's just frustrating as a fan because I get it from the national media perspective. I get a bunch of crap now from the local media perspective. And it's just like, report on the Titans. It's all I care about. I don't care about the drama. We know Marcus is going to be the starter. When Tannehill goes out there and gets sacked 4 or 5 times, I mean, Terry McCormick's bringing up Zach Mettenberger. So I replied to Terry McCormick and said, what about Marcus getting sacked 11 times last year against Baltimore? You want to bring that up? Oh, just getting my blood going here pretty good. So here's my tip, and then I'm going to go read some of your stuff, and then I'll get out of here because I know you guys got stuff going on. You got a safety. Oh, my goodness. But we had second-teamers galore after that the second drive of the game. So I guess I'm not too upset at the defense. So someone who put elite defense. So my tip for the day, if you're J-Rob, here's what you do, okay? This is kind of funny and comical, but maybe it may be true, okay? So here's your tip. You just wait for the Steelers on Friday and Saturday to cut all their guys, and you just pick them all up. And you pick them all up, and you replace all these bottom guys. And so when next year comes around, those bottom guys are our bottom guys, and they're challenging the guys. Today, I know the Steelers lost Brown and Bell, but the Steelers showed us today that they are built. They're built from the starters all the way through the roster. They dominated every section of that game for the most part against us. It definitely showed us that, hey, we have a pretty decent starting group, both sides of the ball. I think we'd all agree with that. We were 9-7 the last 3 years. I'm expecting us to win the division. But after that, our second team guys, the guys that are going to come in after injury or role guys or guys that are filling other guys that are just need a breather, we are getting dominated in that case against the Steelers. So that's my tip. So if you're J-Rob, go find out what offensive lineman that the Steelers cut. You bring them in. I bet you those guys could play over the guys they're going to keep. You guys realize they're going to keep 9 offensive linemen. And after the 6 linemen 6 through, let's see, Kelly would be 6 for me if you're going for the starting 5 when Lawan's back. So we need a right guard. So actually Kelly would be 5. So we got 6 through 9, 6 through 10. No, none of those guys stand out except for maybe Nate Davis, which hasn't played yet. So I'm not going to give up on him. So that was my tip for the day, whatever. So here we go. Let's see what we got. Anything for the good of the cause that I can see here. Sorry, I haven't been keeping up. I was just raining. Let's see. You guys getting into the Mariota stuff. So that's, I don't know. I can't really get into that anymore. I'm getting destroyed, by the way, on some of these things. Like people do not listen to watch the video. They just see the title and they're like, oh, you're an idiot. And then I got people commenting on the pillows on the back and like, what's up with that? You know, if you want to make fun of me and stuff, like, don't make fun of the pillows. Those are my wife. So that's pretty mean. So that's not cool, you guys. All right. So let's see. See, I'm trying to pick up with you guys, but you guys are like going at it in here. So I'll go back at the end of the day and kind of find out. I noticed the other day when I was talking about Luck, I said, oh, could you imagine if he played for the Colts? None of you guys called me out on that. I meant Patriots. Let's see. All right, I'll just throw this up here. If we had beat the Steelers 18-6, they'd still interview the Steelers a bunch. They're a bigger franchise. I know. I understand. Oh, the Luck thing, real quick. Speaking of this with, fans and franchises. Everybody's going off on Indianapolis right now. Maybe you guys are too. But did you guys think, realistically, okay, nobody goes to preseason games. The Chicago Bears travel a lot. So when they were showing some of those clips, there are a lot of Chicago Bear fans there. And the place looked somewhat half full to begin with. And I know they were booing Luck, but there were a couple guys caught on camera you can see that were Bear fans booing Luck. And nobody really mentions that. So I had to throw that out there. I was tweeting it to some people and they don't, whatever. Let's see really quick. All right. Don't listen to them. Keep grinding. I don't know. Are you guys talking about the Titans? I'm still positive. I am. James, yeah, booing was wrong. But my point was, we do this a lot where we let a few, if that was the Titans, I would be upset. I would be upset at the people that were there, but that wouldn't judge all of us. I think sometimes that's just, one Colt fan does this and then, but whatever. There were a lot of Bear fans there. You guys been to Nashville and the Bears ever come? That place is like 50% Bear fans. Did he really say that, John? Like a good replacement for who? Us or the Colts? Let's see. I gotta like screen these because I don't want to put any cuss words up here. I'm adamant about that. Freaking, I guess we'll go with that, right? So I'm glad Vrabel pulled Mariota with the Steelers pulling that heavy blitzing crap and freaking that is true. That is definitely true. RD ran base most of the game. That's true. We did blitz. What's his name? Logan Ryan a few times, but other than that, I don't remember anything. And then most of the game, yeah, and they had Hayward going up against random Titan dudes. So, but my point is, realistically, those guys, like Levin and some of these other guys, are going to make the back end of the roster. But if they can't go in and guard Hayward ever, then what use are they? Then you need to go out and get somebody. I guess that's my point. So, yeah, whatever. So anybody going to watch the Bears preseason game coming up? I know no one's going to play. There may be a question about throwing Derrick Henry out there for just a series, but I don't know how you guys all feel about Derrick Henry. I just can't wait to have him back. I think, guys, he'll change this. I want to throw this on there, okay? Dion Lewis is getting a lot of negative bashing online. I don't know if you are the guys bashing him or not, but if we can't block for the quarterback to throw the ball, I definitely don't think we can block to run the ball. Like, there was a part in the end of the first quarter before we made our first catch. We had -9 yards. -9 yards in a preseason game. So, and keep in mind too, like Pittsburgh didn't play any really of their starters the first 2 games. This was their go. They're just throwing them out there. And I thought Vrabel, I know with the rain, he definitely pulled him early, but I'm not going to fault him for that, because if someone got injured, we'd all be complaining. What's up, Jay Parch? All right. I don't have anything else. Here's a good question to end the day. All right. So Luke Joel says, on a scale of 1 to 10, how worried are you? Wow. 1 to 10. How worried am I? Okay. It's preseason. So I'm going to put this on there with the positive vibes. Let's see. I would say it's a really good question. Well, if I can branch it into 2 answers. So O-line, I'm worried. With Lawan being out, Cleveland, Jacksonville, even Atlanta, the Colts are going to be okay. The Colts will give us a run. I'm telling you, week 2. I would say for offensive line, I'm at like a 7. I'm really upset with the offensive line because we don't have a right guard right now. I don't know if you guys realize that or not. We do not have a right guard. So until Nate Davis gets back, anybody hear anything on Nate Davis? Leave a comment on that one. When I had Calvin Smith from ESPN 125 the game, he didn't know anything about with Nate Davis either. That's like a hush-hush thing. As far as the team in general, oh, man. We didn't look good last year, I don't think, against the preseason game against Pittsburgh. We started 3-1. So I'm going to say, how worried am I? I still think we're going to win the division. Maybe a 2. Yep, that's what it is. It's a 2. Offensive line, a 7 and a 2. How can that be? Because I really have faith in J-Rob, and I think he's going to fix the offensive line in a week. I do. So if I'm J-Rob, I'm making a trade. There it is. I'm throwing it out there. I'm trading a 7th-round pick for a guy who can plug the right guard position. And then I can have Pamphile on the roster who can fill a different role. He played pretty good in week 2, I think. And then he got hurt in week 3. So I'm okay with him, but I don't want him to be the starter. And then once Lawan comes back, that guy we pick up in a trade for a 7th-round pick. So he's going to be a veteran, a guy probably on the fence of being cut. We can pick him up. He'll be super cheap. I don't know who this guy is, but I would do it as soon as tomorrow. And I'm making that trade. So we wouldn't have a pick 4 or 7. He can figure it out. Somebody made a really good point online. With Luck being out now and Houston basically losing Lamar Smith, I know they pick up you guys know his name. I can't even, Ajayi or whatever his name is. We have to go get it. Let's go. Let's go for it. Here's our window. You don't know about Marcus. If we start over next year with quarterback, that's going to take a couple years. So why not go all in? Trade 7, get someone decent, bring him in at right guard. And there we go. We are at a 2 worry level. So I'm out. You guys have a great one. I'll go back and read the comments. I'll get back to you. I'll do a better job of that. I just Appreciate you guys chiming in. It's late here, and it was awful football. I was really excited about tonight, and then watching this team not really play much, I guess. I'm disappointed in that factor, but I can understand it. But when they were out there, offensive line gave us no opportunity to do anything, and then defensive line. Oh, really quick, I have to say this. Did you catch the play at the end of the game where I think it was 93, busted through the middle? A great play. It was like one of the highlights of the night for the Titans. And they like clotheslined the quarterback, Dobbs, and then grabbed the running back by the face mask and threw him down. There's your positive. There it is right there. Positive of the night. That guy, man, he would destroy our offensive line, by the way. I'm just throwing that out there. So sign that guy. All right, guys, tighten up. Titanup Load. We'll see you this week. Bears, Titans. Still debate on if I'm going to even come in here or not. We may just come in and do a chat session where I'll just read nothing but chats, see what you guys say. Any questions, you guys can lead the discussion, kind of go from there. May have a special guest on Thursday to break down the Bears before the game. Still up in the air. And that's pretty much all I got. So you guys have a great night. We will see you soon. Come on, J-Rob, make that trade. Titanup Load, signing off. Peace, guys.